Now ladies, have you ever had a dating experience that left you feeling like a complete fool? Like you've been taken for a ride? And you wonder to yourself, what the heck just happened? You clearly missed the signs. Or maybe you just couldn't admit it to yourself. Now, to this end, I am going to reveal to you 7 red flags that you should look out for to let you know that this guy is not serious about you, or he's not desiring to be in a relationship that you want to be in with him. So if this kind of video resonates with how you feel now, you better keep on watching. Be right back. Now welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. My name is Jane Lawrence, aka Juicy Jane. I talk about relationships, sex and love. Alright, on this episode I will be giving you 7 red flags that you should look out for in a guy who's been playing you a fool and you just don't know it, or maybe you know it but you just don't want to admit it to yourself. Now oftentimes the problem comes from women believing that they can change a man's desire for a relationship. That's a recipe for disaster. That's pure fantasy. Ladies, listen, once a man tells you that he's not ready for a serious relationship, or he doesn't make out time to see you on a real date, everything else just rests on your shoulders. Because yes, it's up to you to maintain a certain standard for which you want to be treated. So establishing boundaries will not be difficult for you. Establishing boundaries just means that you know what you will take and you know what you will and will not put up with to have a man in your life. You just know it. And when you know it, it radiates. They see it. This man come into your life with a game to play, but they see it. Because that's what you're exuding, that's what you're speaking, that's what you're saying. And invariably, quality and real men who know what a real relationship, what a loving relationship should look like, and want it, will want to be with you. Because you already know and exude the standard that you want. They would happily spend time with you and treat you like you ought to be treated. They would treat you better to impress you. So if you don't get this from the very beginning, if you don't get this from the get-go, if your relationship or your budding relationship starts to disintegrate into virtual relationship, baby, you know what to do. Cut them loose and move the hell on, sis. Because if you keep on nurturing that kind of behavior, you're headed for a great embarrassment. A huge one, for that matter. So here is the number 1 sign. Number 1, he tells you he's not ready for a serious relationship and you go on to date him just to see where things end. Girl, are you serious? Once a guy tells you he's not ready for a serious relationship, just take him for his word. He is not ready for a serious relationship. So you go ahead, have a date with this guy because he's got great conversations going on. He's got almost all of the qualities that you're looking for in a guy. And he makes you feel great with all of his jokes and humors. And you tell yourself that you can make things work. You could just act in a certain way to make him really love you. Guy, sis, he is not going to change. He's not feeling you. Nah, sis, he already told you he's not ready for a serious relationship. So don't try to make him your project, because he's not going to fall. If he tells you that he's not ready to be in a serious relationship, just have it at the back of your mind that he doesn't see you as someone he's willing to commit to. So going on a date, answering his calls, responding to his text messages, listen sis, you're setting yourself up for a big heartbreak. Once a guy tells you he is not ready for a relationship, best believe that and move on. Move the hell on, sis. Nothing is going to change his decision, because a man knows what he wants from the get-go. Because a man knows he wants to settle with a woman upon meeting that woman. A man knows it. You can't change him. Your change of attitude will not change him any second. All right, sis, I'm just trying to keep it 100 with you. This man know what they want from the get-go. So if he tells you he's not ready for a serious relationship with you, you can't do anything to change that. What you can do for yourself is know your worth and move the hell on. Number 2, he flirts with you and never asks you out on a date. My sister. Dude, that's a sign he is playing you a fool. And then he leaves you confused because He says all of the sweet things to you, and at the end of the day never for once tells you, oh, can we go out, can we have the drink? So he keeps you wondering. And being the woman, being an old-fashioned woman that I am, I could never see myself asking a guy out for a drink. Never. Especially if I am sort of confused where that relationship or where this flirting is headed to. So if he keeps flirting with you and never for once says, can we go out for a drink or can we go out on a date? Sis, move the hell on. If he goes all out to turn your head and never goes beyond that, that's a sign. That's a sign. That's a sign, girl. You have to be smart. You have to see guys for who they really are. You have to really think like a guy. Act like a lady. Think like a man. Remember that book? If you've ever read that book, you know where I'm taking that line from. So if he's always excited to see you, always excited to hear from you, but he doesn't go beyond that, he doesn't ask you on a date, oh my goodness, then there is something holding him back. It could be that he's in a relationship or he just doesn't want to be seen with you out there. And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Number 3, he tells you he has never fallen in love. That's a really tough one. You know why? Because women, when they hear this, they start to think that, oh, he could be a project. He's never fallen in love because he's never found that woman that can make him fall in love. And they start to think to themselves that they are that woman. Women are drawn to men who appear vulnerable. Honestly, a lot of people say, oh, women love strong men. Yes, of course, we do love strong men. But women are drawn to men who appear vulnerable and probably admit to the fact that they've never fallen in love, because then they start to see him as a project. So they think to themselves, oh, he hasn't fallen in love because he hasn't met the right woman. But ladies, thoughts like this will make you look stupid. Will make you look like a fool. Because he would read right through you that you're putting so much effort to make sure that he falls in love with you. And he will dump you eventually. Because he would see right through you that you're putting all of the effort to make sure that he falls in love with you. You're doing extra, you're doing too much just so that he falls in love with you. And he would see right through you and eventually dump you. You know why? Because men like to do the chasing. So if he's not feeling you yet, I'm sweating. Oh my God. So if he's not feeling you yet enough to fall in love with you, he probably would never fall in love with you. He probably would never fall in love with you. And besides, there are some guys who say these things just so that you start to do the work, just so that you don't give them tough times, just so that they have it easy with you. Girls, be smart. These guys are really smart. Alright? Don't make him your project. Just walk away. If he is well over 30 and he says he has never fallen in love, he probably wouldn't fall in love ever. So just move on. Some of them just use this as a tactics to get you, to get you under the sheets. So don't fall for that. Number 4, he sends you text and doesn't create the time to see you. Cut him loose. So he wakes up in the morning and first thing he does is sends you a message, good morning babes, how are you today? And all of his conversations are just tied towards sending you text messages, sending you DMs. Never a time does he pick up his phone to call you. Some even go as far as calling you day and night, but then never creates that time to see you on ground. That should mean and say a lot to you. Because who's to say you're the only one he's sending text messages to in the morning? A guy who really loves you will go beyond having a virtual relationship with you. He would want to build a physical connection with you, seeing you, looking at you, eyeballs to eyeballs, hearing you speak, gauging your appearance. Men are physical. So if he's not taking, your relationship or your cordial communication on the phone to the physical, be certain that you're not the only woman that he sends these messages to. There are other women he does that, and you can imagine the ego boost that he would have from, you know, seeing several women send him responses, dying because he's all lovey-dovey. It gives them that boost. So you have to be smart. If for a week he's been sending you messages and never a time has he ever created the room for you both to have a physical connection, he playing you a fool, baby. There are other women on his list. So don't waste your time, no matter how sweet his conversations are on the phone. Because if he is serious, he would spend time with you in person. Number 5, he brings takeouts to your crib. Never to his, to your crib. Never introduces you to his friends. Baby girl, that's a code for booty call. He comes over to yours, but never takes you out on a proper date. Maybe he never wants to see you in public. Maybe he is married, never wants you to be seen in public with him. Or maybe he eventually takes you out, but then to a very secluded place where not a lot of people go to. Baby girl, he's either married or in a relationship, or he's so ashamed to be with you, or all he wants is just a booty call. Sis, you know what to do. Cut him off. So avoid dates that are only tied to your house. Go on a couple of dates outside before you eventually invite him to your home, into your paradise. I know I told you 7, but I think I have said a lot. So I'll just keep it at 6 right now, right? Number 6 and the last one. The last one. You are always the one to set up a date. Never him. He never initiates dates. So if he lets you do all of the work, if he doesn't initiate anything in that relationship, oh, I want to do this, whatever, go on, do it, I don't care. Like, he gives you that, I don't really care, I'm not really invested in what you like, I'm not really invested in what you're interested in, that's a sign, baby girl, you need to move on. He doesn't deserve your time, he doesn't deserve any part of you. So ladies, I urge you not to be a placeholder if you don't want to look foolish at the end of the day. If he doesn't ask you out, drop him as fast as a douchebag, because he probably would never ask you out. So once you're able to spot all of these signs, just be committed to walk away from that relationship, all right? Just walk away and find yourself a better prospect. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for being part of this show. Until next time, keep living the fab life. I love you.